Oh, yeah. We did have weapons. And unless
Okay, hold on.
permanent,
Rosie, wait, I had to pause the recording.
oh,
I have a neighbor that has a little bit of an emergency situation. I
oh,
got to step out of the house for a little bit. So,
maybe you could do it.
I could, why don't I make, Eva the host for now?
Yeah.
Okay, where are we? Okay, Eva, you're the host now. So
Okay,
you'll
good
be able,
luck.
you'll be able to unpause the recording. And Rosie, why don't you just finish up the page and let Eva start the next reading?
Okay.
All right, I'll be back as soon as I can.
Okay, good luck.
Yeah. And unless permanent leaders like Nehru, Abdul Kalam, Azad, and others come into power, travel around and arouse that spirit once again, Japan will land at important points and cities and capture all war materials, weapons, supplies of oil, food, etc., and cripple India.
I don't know if we're being recorded.
I didn't. Oh, nothing was said, so I think no.
Yeah, I have a thing showing. Eva says the meeting is being recorded.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Ralph. Thank you.
And I'm sitting still for a while. I could read if you want one. Want a reader?
Sure, thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. Rosalie has Rosalie finished?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
at the top of the page.
Oh, let me get my screen enlarged here. Okay.
Can you see it? I can make it larger, Ralph.
Well, I got it. Yeah. Wartime travel for months. Hard facts indeed. Is that the right place,
Yeah.
Rosalie?
Correct.
So it looked as if Japan was about to attack India. Hard facts indeed, which India will have to face and overcome. Baba is so smart, my God. He figured all that war stuff tactic out. All differences of caste and creed and materiality will have to be given up and a common stand given to the conquering nation. Let us see how India takes it. In the midst of all hardships, I will send Deshmukh, Baba Das, and 2/3 of the Mandali with messages from me to be delivered verbally and through leaflets and booklets. That is the plan. I am working at it these days by sitting here in quiet seclusion. Because it looked as if Japan was about to attack India from the eastern coastline, Baba informed the women, if we are attacked, we must be ready to defend ourselves. We must have military training in self-defense. Baba appointed Margaret Krask to give the women lessons in the martial arts. The training began with the swinging of Lathis.
Stop. I don't know what that is.
Nor do I. The swinging of lathis. How to inflict wounds and how to fight if wounded were also taught. Drills were held as follows. Upon hearing a whistle, all the women carrying the cudgels would run to their predetermined battle stations upstairs in the house. At one point, it's something. At one point, Baba advised, if anyone is wounded, Rano, Kitty, and Margaret should remain with them. Mara, Mani, Khorshid, and the others should climb to the roof. If the enemy attacks, they should be resisted downstairs so that they may not invade the second story, and Mara should be saved. All, including the servants, took the training seriously. Baba would often go out to commune with Mas. So in his absence, this provided a lively pastime for the women, meaning their military training, I guess. Took the training seriously. From Sunday, 1 March 42, Baba resumed his routine of washing and feeding Mus at the Mandali's bungalow from 8 to 10 a.m., some days until noon. In addition to moving about Dehradun itself to locate Mus, that evening, he commented to the women, "Today is an important day for India." Baba took part in kindling we just had Holi. What is it again? Anybody remember what Holi is? Holi. Oh, we're recorded. Oh, there it says a Hindu fire festival on the 2nd. The pit was dug in the backyard and filled with kindling. Baba lighted the fire and observed, "I am making a fire of the world." One of the women remarked, "Please, Baba, see that none of us get hurt." 2 days later,
It's burnt.
burnt. God, sorry, burnt. 2 days later, Baba left for Rishikesh via Hardwar to contact Mas with Gustaji, Badul, and Savak. Baba had wanted to take the entire group of women also, but the idea was dropped due to the difficulty of lodging and transporting so many. Baba returned the next evening. Badul was then sent to the ancient holy city of Ayodhya, the birthplace of Lord Ram, in preparation for Baba's next Mus tour to Madhya Pradesh. Okay. Jal Karawala arrived on 10 March and discussed his next posting with Baba. Baba selected 3 possibilities, from which Jal was to choose. The country and global political situation was discussed, and the afternoon, Baba sat alone. And in the afternoon, Baba sat alone in Nilu's room for 15 to 20 minutes. On the 11th, a letter from Sulu Meshram of Nagpur was received and read out. There's a footnote here. Sulu Meshram was the boy from Nagpur who heard about Meher Baba through a newspaper article and whom Baba had described as fit for the path. That's Vijay's father. Yeah, J. Baba.
Wow.
Yeah, that's who that's what Viju always says. That's what Baba said when he saw his father fit for the man. So, would anyone else want to take up the reading?
Sure, Ralph. I can take it up here. I'm
Well,
just writing down.
I can read again. I'd like to take a little breath.
Oh, okay, sure. I'll start after the
Right there,
foot.
Baba was in a good mood.
Okay, thank you, Ralph. Baba was in a good mood and remarked, "Such devotees and lovers should be worshipped." Baba then joined his own hands together and closed his eyes as if praying, something the Mandali had never seen him do before. He had the letter read out again and observed, "Sulu is greater than me in the sense that he loves me with such deep devotion. He has seen me only once in Panchgani in 1938, and since then has been kept far away. Lovers in that respect are truly great." Why did Krishna wash Sudama's feet and drink the water? Because of Sudama's love. He washed not the feet, but the love of Sudama and drank its waters. God always is, was, and ever will be. But the existence of God's great and true lovers, like Sudama of Krishna, Sulu, and others now, reflects God's true greatness. The greatness of their love is such that it creates faith in a master whom the poor, ignorant lover does not truly know at all. But because of firm faith, the follower is ready to give up his very life for the master. Isn't that greater than God? God is always greater in his infinity. But if lovers, in spite of their finiteness, rise to give up all, sacrifice their very lives just for love and faith in their beloved, whose true being they do not at all know, it is indeed greater. That is why God, even in spite of his infinity, bows to the greatness and recognition of the spirit of selflessness that he beholds in the love and faith of his true lovers. God is always there. He was all the time. He will ever be. But it is the greatness of lovers and devotees that they love and adore God and the Guru. Even if you, the Mandali, don't feel anything such as this boy or other devotees have experienced, the very fact that you have given up all and now stay with me and render service solely out of love, although you do not know me, is enough to prove your greatness, which I alone see, know, and appreciate. When in Dehradun, each day Baba discussed with Chanji Japan's military movements and affairs, as well as India's unpreparedness to fight and its internal political instability. Yet he likewise always stressed, it is all God's plan. To the women, Baba remarked on the 11th, life will be like a whirlwind in a few weeks. On Thursday, 12 March 1942, when Baba heard the news that Sir Stafford Cripps was coming to India, being sent by Winston Churchill to meet with Indian independence movement leaders, he commented on the current political situation in the country and abroad, and about different political figures in India and elsewhere. With perfect mimicry, Baba imitated the typical expressions of one and said, Cripps is clever, sincere, shrewd, and sympathetic towards India. Jaina is cleverest of the whole lot, has politics on the tip of his finger, is the best speaker, but he is not as sincere and sensible as Gandhi and Azad, who is a great scholar of Islamic literature. Rajaji Chakravarti Raja Gopalachari is the best among the whole lot. Sincere, clever, capable, sociable, and above all, bold enough to face all situations, flexible to adapt himself to changing conditions, though not through weakness, but cleverness. Rajaji is not obstinate or rigid. He is the only man who could face Gandhi and tell him boldly what he feels. He would confront even a separation, if need be, for principles, and is the only person whom Gandhi fears. He is a perfect Vedantist, spiritually inclined, who has the courage of his conviction, which impresses all. Nehru is clever, sincere, and selfless. He has sacrificed a lot, but is rather rash and quick-tempered, so as to spoil the whole thing. Of all the Indian leaders, past and present, I like Tilak the best. He had the best combination of the qualities of head and heart. I liked him more particularly for the spirit with which he braved all difficulties like a lion, roaring all the while with all the force of his soul, with all his brain power, and with the spirit of tremendous self-sacrifice that was amazing. It took not only his brain, but also the skill of his astute political diplomacy to fight against the ruling forces of a mighty power such as Britain. Tilak was a great lawyer, a great orator, a great writer, and a great student of shlokas, fit to write a commentary on the Gita. Regarding Europe and America, Baba observed about its leaders. Hitler, however cracked, crazy, and brutal, is sincere in his contentions that what he does is for the good of humanity, with unselfish motives and sincerity. He aroused a whole nation to prepare them to face the world. Wonderful, amazing Hitler is a perfect medium and actor who is playing his role splendidly in the world drama. Stalin is also a good medium, shrewd, clever, and very bold. What he did and achieved, no one else could have, getting the entire nation united as one to face the common foe in spite of internal squabbles and differences. I've said before, Russia is always the deciding factor. Churchill is a clever and shrewd politician. He is the spirit of Britain who, but for him, would have failed. How cleverly he handled the delicate situation about India, he got Parliament's vote of confidence, formed a new cabinet, brought in Cripps, and cleverly shirked the entire Indian problem onto Cripps's head and responsibility. Roosevelt is good, sincere, and capable. He came to India and stayed in the same houseboat in Kashmir that I occupied in 1933. The owner himself told Narina and the Westerners this. Good at heart, he wants to help and does, but he has to face great odds in his country too. Footnote: the houseboat owner was apparently mistaken. It was Franklin Roosevelt's father-in-law, Elliott Roosevelt, who visited Kashmir in 1881. All these great leaders who play their part in this world drama will go. But even if they won't live to see the good results of all this destruction and devastation, they have played their roles well to bring about a new era of peace on earth, and hence are blessed. Baba concluded by stating, all are mine, you as well as they. Later that same day, 12 March, accompanied by Kaka, Gustaji, and Baidul, Baba went to Gorakhpur in search of musts, visiting many places along the way. His most significant contact in Gorakhpur was a high must of the sixth plane called Chini Shah. Once during the 10-day tour, Baba stopped in Sitapur. Although it was not on their itinerary and no must was found, it became evident to the Mandali why Baba had come to Sitapur when they happened upon a helpless family camping under a tree near the railway station. Baba told the Mandali to make inquiries about them. The family consisted of 3 children, their father, and mother. The mother was so gravely ill, she could not move. Local inquiries revealed that one of their children had died the previous day. They had no money whatsoever. The illness of the woman and the recent death of the child had left the father totally despondent. Oops. Baba instructed the Mandali to first feed them and then question the man about his condition. He had been driven almost to madness by his unfortunate situation. Baba and the men were on their way to Bareilly, and Baba instructed that the family be taken along in the train. This was done, and once they arrived there, Baba instructed that the wife be admitted to a hospital. Money was given to the man to feed his family. As Bareilly was a large city, the man said he would be able to find employment soon. Once again, Baba's timely help had saved a family who had almost given up all hope and were on the point of dying of starvation. After Baba's must tour was completed, he returned to Dehradun on 22 March. However, he indicated that he was feeling unwell. 2 days later, Baba sent all the maidservants back to Meherabad and instructed the women to manage for themselves. Along with the servants, he also sent Carmen Masi, Arnavaz, and Nargis back to Bombay, accompanied by Kaka. Conditions throughout the world had worsened in January and February of 1942. The bloodshed was spreading rapidly throughout the Far East, and the possibility of India being bombed became a very real threat. Japan had swept through Indochina and Thailand and captured Singapore. Japan held a large part of Asia and dominated the Western Pacific. Baba had given out several messages during the war, which were printed and circulated among his lovers and the public. In February 1942, he dictated 4 new messages: violence and nonviolence, the spiritual significance of the present war, action and inaction, and the need for creative leadership in India. Footnote.
One sec. Ralph, you need to mute, or Eva, you do it if he doesn't respond.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that.
No problem. He did. Okay. Footnote. These messages were printed in Meher Baba Journal. See Appendix B for some of these discourses. Baba also gave explanations and precise instructions to his lovers, devotees, and the general public on what they should do in case India was invaded by Japan. Baba especially wished these 4 messages to be delivered to the leaders of India. He chose Chandji and Jal Karawala for this task and sent them to Delhi on 23 March with these words: "You have to do this work, even if you die doing it." The political situation in India was becoming critical. Japan was approaching India's borders. At the same time, Mahatma Gandhi and others were clamoring for independence after more than a century of British rule. To come to some settlement, Churchill dispatched Stafford Cripps to Delhi to meet with India's leaders. Marvin, would you like to read next?
He offered what amounted to independence after Japan's defeat to secure their immediate cooperation in defending the country. But the proposal did not appeal to Gandhi's concepts of nonviolence, and the offer was rejected. Baba, who was closely monitoring all this, very much wished the leaders of the All India Congress to read his messages before meeting with Cripps, who arrived in Delhi on the 23rd. Accordingly, in the intense heat of Delhi summer, Chandji and Jal spent a week personally contacting about 30 prominent leaders, such as Gandhi, Jinnah, Nehru, Rajaji, and Stafford Cripps himself. They delivered printed copies of Meher Baba's 4 messages to each of them. Chandji and Jal returned to Dehradun on the morning of 30 March. After listening to their reports of how, quote, lucky, unquote, they had been in contacting all the leaders, as Baba wished, despite the heavy schedules of the politicians at this crucial stage, Baba smilingly remarked, "At this significant period, when the future of India is being discussed and decided, I had to contact the leaders who participated in these discussions through you both. It was all according to God's plan. They will now make decisions according to the thoughts and wisdom God will give them. God's plan is always for the best, and although at times things appear to be going wrong, in fact, it is not so." Meanwhile, during this period, Baba had called Pankraj to Dehradun from Nagpur. He arrived on 25 March 1942, and Baba asked him, "What do you want?" "I want to stay with you always," he said sincerely. It is extremely hard to stay with me. It means total self-surrender. Are you prepared for that? I have come only for that purpose, Pankraj replied. Counseling him, Baba then explained the meaning of sacrifice and said, think it over and give me your answer tomorrow. After deep thought, the next day, Pankraj assured Baba, I am prepared to surrender myself to you. You are my master and the only beloved of my heart. I am very pleased, Baba stated. You have made the right decision. Now go back to Nagpur and find employment. Even if you find a job paying only 10 rupees a month, accept it. Pankraj stared at Baba, finding it difficult to believe his ears. Baba explained, since you have surrendered to me, there is no room left for any wish of your own. Now I have full rights on you, and you must do as I say. If you obey me, it will be like staying with me. This is the meaning of surrenderance. Pankraj obeyed Baba and went back home. Soon after, he got a very good job in Nagpur. Still, after some time, Pankraj grew dissatisfied with his worldly life, quote unquote, and wrote to Baba about it. Chanji replied, offering some sound advice. Baba is very happy to read the outpourings of your heart and says that he is fully aware of the depth of your feeling and appreciates the same. He wants you, however, to continue as you are now, serving, working, and earning for your own self and others until the time he gives you a call and not feel at all depressed. For Baba is everywhere, and when he himself tells you to do a particular thing, he has his own reasons for your own good, as he knows best. So even while serving there, if your spirit is with Baba, there is no reason at all for you to worry about external surroundings that may appear boring. But one has to have that experience too, to prepare oneself for the great cause. Who but Baba knows it all, and he deems it desirable to direct you that way. He does that for your own good. So try to feel quite happy that you are doing his bidding, obeying his orders, and acting according to his wish. It is easy to practice meditation, concentration, pranayams, tapascharya, and other such laborious penances, but very, very difficult to obey orders from a guru in whose surrenderance one has placed oneself. And that is the best and the easiest way, but destined to very, very few who come across such a real guru. And you are under the direct guidance of the avatar of our age. Imagine what great and enviable luck and a rare privilege it is. And rejoice not only in that, but also in carrying out the wishes and instructions of a dear beloved master who loves you and lovingly guides you to your cherished goal. On Wednesday, 1st April 1942, Baba left Dehradun with Kaka, Staji, Jalk, Karawala, and Baidul for Amritsar, Pantankot, Dalhousie, Chamba, and Kangra Valley, where he contacted several musts. Footnote: Savak Kotwal, who was usually accompanied Baba on must tours, had been left behind in Dehradun and instructed to learn typing in order to help Chanji with the correspondence and writing work. Baba had hinted that he wished to select several ideal spots near the Himalayas where he could retire in seclusion for his work, and during this tour, he did select one spot on a hill near Moree in Kashmir. The Mandali were instructed to keep watch below while he was in seclusion. Most significant of his contacts during the tour were two saints, Kala Sain and Baigali Baba. Famous in Amritsar, Kala Sain was a Salik pilgrim of mental consciousness and was reputed to be over 110 years old. He seldom spoke to anyone, and he lived in an isolated place on the outskirts of the city. Baba liked him very much. In Patanakat, Baba contacted Bengali Baba, a hymnist of both Jalali and Jamali characteristics, and the spiritual chargeman of the area. After these contacts, some of which they had to travel on horseback to reach, Baba returned to Dehradun on 9th April. As mentioned, Mahatma Gandhi had his own ideas of what constitutes, quote, nonviolence and nonviolent resistance, end quote. And he did not truly understand the gist of Baba's message on the subject. While Baba was on his Must tour, he sent Chanji again to Delhi to see Gandhi. He did so on the 2nd and 3rd April, 1942. Chanji returned to Dehradun, and several letters ensued between himself and Gandhi about this subject. Gandhi had been surprised to read Baba's views, which justified the use of violence in certain situations, and called them wholly inapplicable. Yet Gandhi's views were impractical for those on the path. His idea of nonviolence can only be achieved in the God-realized state of a Madhu, where it is attained automatically. While discussing Gandhi and his resistance movement, on Friday, 10th April, Baba further clarified, real nonviolence, like truth, love, and selfless service, is the guide to God realization. My nonviolence includes violence under certain circumstances when it is done 100% for others and without the slightest feeling of malice, hatred, revenge, or self-gain. I call it, quote, nonviolent violence. Nonviolence, pure and simple, is the beyond state of God. It is the goal of humanity. It cannot exist where one is still in the stages of a seeker. The seeker can, however, reach this goal through the means of nonviolence of the brave, quote unquote, or of selfless violence, which means nonviolent violence. Beloved, God is the goal. Love is the means. The lover can reach the beloved through love. God, in the beyond state of Paramatma, is love, light, and life infinite. He is everything. Unless one realizes God and has love infinite, one cannot be purely and infinitely nonviolent. God does not include violence, just as love does not include lust. Nonviolence, pure and simple, is love infinite. A lover who is longing to see the beloved is in the same stage and category as a seeker on the path. A majzub who has become one with the beloved through love is in the same state as God. The distance between these stages may be explained in the following manner. Suppose you are slapped or kicked by someone. If you do not retaliate, but keep quiet and do nothing, it is the category of a seeker who practices nonviolence of the brave. In a similar case of a majzub being slapped or kicked by someone, it is quite different. He has neither the necessity to keep quiet or control himself, nor has he to make an effort for the same, because in his state as majzub, which is divine bliss, he does not at all feel the slap or the kick. He has gone beyond that state of being. The question of feeling, even after God realization, comes only when the God-realized being again comes down to the world of phenomena with normal consciousness. There, he can use nonviolence, pure and simple, which is based on divine love, and try to persuade the aggressor, the one who slapped or kicked, through infinite love. In his beyond state, where all souls are one, he is himself both the striker and the stricken, the aggressor and the aggrieved. It is either unity, oneness, or duality. There is no stage in between. Different yogas have different means. For example, For Bhakti Yogi, it is love. For Karma Yoga, it is nonviolence, and so on. In Karma Yoga, love for individuals is nonviolence of the brave, and love for the masses is nonviolent violence. The beloved in Karma Yoga is nonviolence, pure and simple. Now, to reach the beloved aspect, you have to go through the path of love. Why is God called the beloved? Because we reach him through love. When you reach him through nonviolence, you call him infinite nonviolence. The Jnanis, advanced souls, call him infinite Chaitanya, or consciousness. Those who follow Raja Yoga call him Prabhu, the maker and creator of everything. Thus, God is named after the path through which one attains and realizes him. Commenting about lust and celibacy, Baba stated, if one is lustful, he has a tendency to fasten his lust upon several persons of the opposite sex. The ideal of brahmacharya, celibacy, does not allow even the touch of the person of the opposite sex. Now, if the master, who is entirely free from lust, wants to help a strongly lustful person, he knows that the aspirant is incapable of brahmacharya. Therefore, he allows him to legally marry, but he asks him to limit his lust only to one woman. Then, gradually, as lust diminishes, he may be asked to give up all acts of lust, even with his wedded wife, although he can maintain and continue the married life. In this manner, lust is gradually eliminated, and the goal of brahmacharya, celibacy, is finally obtained. While discussing a telegram from Adi Sr. in Bangalore, which outlined certain difficulties there, Baba stated, although as a master I have to and do shoulder all responsibilities of the mandali who depend upon me and have left all to me, at the same time, under certain conditions, I want the mandali to participate in this responsibility by suggesting ideas and plans whenever I ask for them. Although the entire responsibility always rests on me, this suggestion by the mandali whenever asked lessens my burden to some extent. Although everything comes to the same definite purpose, as already chalked out, one way or the other, the details and the methods differ. For example, if I tell you to go to the station to receive someone at a particular time, whether you go by car, tonga, bus, or on foot is left to your discretion. The object is to reach there at the stipulated time. Baba called Adi Sr. and Ghani from Bangalore to Dehradun and sent them also to Delhi to contact certain political leaders. On 11th April, Baba wrote to Deshmukh directing him to meet Gandhi again and try to explain Baba's viewpoint properly. Okay, maybe we should switch readers here. I think Mahu's with us, right?
Right.
Go ahead, please.
Okay. So this is page 2276, years 1942. Deshmukh saw Gandhi at his ashram in Wardha on the 15th, but Gandhi still did not accept non-violence and clung to his own rigid outlook. At the end of April, Baba sent Chanji back to Delhi to contact other influential persons who had spiritual inclinations and disseminate his messages to them. Baba particularly wished to contact Colonel Lewis Johnson, President Roosevelt's special envoy from America. Chanji gave him the messages and he promised to study them. Parentheses, messages were also mailed to prominent Indian personalities such as Aurobindo. Pilamai came from Karachi and brought Baba two parrots, a male and a female. The male did not live long, but the female, named Mitu, lived and traveled with Baba and the women for the next few years. Although Keki Nalawala, this is Nashwan's father, was a resident of Dehradun and already loved Meher Baba, he was not permitted to see Baba and had only seen Baba's feet once a year ago, that too from a distance. Keki Desai of Delhi had likewise come to meet Baba in Jaipur in 1941, but had not been allowed even to see his feet. Baba's coquettishness, however, served its purpose, and on Chanji's request, Baba agreed to give darshan to the two Kekis in the Mandali's bungalow, but only for 1 minute. Also permitted to come with them was Audinoras, a friend of Keki Desai, whose residence was in Nafsari, but who was working in Dehradun. All three were warned beforehand neither to fold their hands, garland, bow down to, or speak to Baba. They came on Thursday, 14 April 1942, and were led to Baba's small 10-foot by 10-foot room. A curtain had been drawn across the room. As Keki Nalawala recalled, quote, "We were made to stand before the small curtained room as stage actors stand on the stage before the curtain is lifted. As exactly 2 p.m., the curtain was drawn aside, revealing Baba sitting cross-legged in a corner with Jal Kerawala. The curtain had been raised not only in the room, Age observed, but from their minds and hearts too." Next page. 2. No, it's still same page. They had been forbidden to say anything to Baba, but it did not matter, because when they stood in his presence, they were so overcome they could not have said anything, even if they had wanted to. Nalawala remembered seeing the glittering sight of the rising sun and being dumbed, mummed, and stunned. Next page. The master's silence poured the wine of love into Nalawala's heart and filled it to the brim. Through the language of his heart, he declared, "Baba, I have become yours." Keki Desai also was deeply moved, but because the darshan was over so quickly and because he had been so excited, he had not seen Baba properly to his heart's content. He later felt disappointed about this, but Baba is all merciful, and 6 days later, on the 20th, he invited Keki's wife, Doon, to the women's bungalow to spend the day with them. Keki was asked to bring her. When he went to drop her off outside the house, Sunmasi, who was on guard duty, told him to wait. After some time, Baba called him inside to the garden. Baba was seated in an armchair, and Keki now had the good fortune of seeing him from close range as he had longed for. "Are you fully satisfied this time?" Baba asked him. "Having seen me from head to toe?" Keki later recalled, "He was the most beautiful face I had ever seen or would ever see. I was overjoyed on seeing my beloved at last." When he went to drop her off outside the house, Sun Masi, who was on guard duty, oh, we already read this. Alas, can you roll it down, please? This is, I read, and there is a picture of, no, I read on top. I was overjoyed on seeing my beloved at last. Yeah. There is a nice picture close up of Keki Nalawala and Keki Desai together. Okay. So continued, Babaji Sabala had been entrusted with the work of disposing of the Varamangala property at the best price possible. The land there for Baba's proposed center was between 500 to 700 acres at the time. Papa was traveling back and forth between Dehradun, Ahmednagar, Nasik, and Bombay for this work, while his family remained in Bangalore according to Baba's instruction. Papa arrived in Dehradun on the morning of 12 April 1942 and left the following night for Ahmednagar and Nasik after meeting Baba. Rumors were rampant at this time that Bangalore was in imminent danger of being bombed by the Japanese. There was a huge exodus from the city and it became almost deserted. Papa, fearing for his family's safety, sent a telegram to Erech in Bangalore, telling him to come immediately to Dehradun with the rest of the family and all of their belongings. Papa sent a telegram from Ahmednagar on his own without consulting Baba, but he signed it as being from Baba, as he knew his family would obey such an instruction if it came from Baba. When Erech, Gaimai, Manu, Mehru, and Merwan, along with Golmasi, Safa, and Sarbar, arrived in Dehradun on 17 April 1942, Baba was very displeased to see them and asked, "Why have you all come here?" Next page. Erech replied, "Because Papa sent me a telegram to come saying it was your order." Later, when Papa returned to Dehradun, Baba asked him why he had cabled his family without Baba's permission. Papa explained, "Bombs are falling on Chittagong, and there is a footnote. Chittagong is a city now in Bangladesh." And footnote finished. Who knows when they will start falling on India? I was frightened, so I sent them the telegram. "But you should have asked me," Baba chided. "You were not there, and to delay in times of danger is not good. Times of war are times of worry and trouble. For safety's sake, steps must be taken immediately." Baba teased, "Everyone thinks you are so brave now when you are afraid."
Even.
Even, yeah, you're right. Baba teased, "Everyone thinks you are so brave now, even you are afraid." How can one be courageous when bombs are raining down? Papa replied. On their way to Dehradun, the family's household items had been lost when the baggage car of their train got connected to a different train. They had to make do without their belongings, though everything was eventually recovered months later. Because he had so few clothes, young Merwan would wear Mani's blouses. In the words of Papa Josawela, though their clothes were lost, their lives were saved.
Okay, let's stop right here. It's a good spot and it's time. And we'll just pick it up at the bottom of 2278 next week.
Good not to
You
One
want
be
time-
to
in
stop
war.
recording? Who's recording?
Yeah, yeah,
Record.
stop recording.
Let's
Stop
stop
recording.
recording.
I think you were doing the recording.
But I made you the host.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay.